last year in October, I attended the Fipp International Conference in Toronto along with some of my colleagues. And at the conference was predominantly focused around kind of digital transformation of media houses, specifically magazine media houses. And it was a series of presentations from media houses around the world. One of them in particular was a group, one of them that resonated with me in particular was a group called the Ebner Media Group, a German publishing house. It's been around for 200 years. And they embarked on a kind of 3-year digital transformation journey in late 2011. And they presented on this journey and kind of some of their key strategies that led to their success. So they refer to it as the Ebner Evergreen Content Strategy. They say it's the content that your audience is constantly looking for, that your audience wants to reuse, repurpose, share, etc. And that it works so well with their magazines, which traditionally are niche magazines. One example of that is Watch Time magazine. Works so well with their content because their content is evergreen in its nature. And so if they start to produce, repackage, repurpose, republish their evergreen content, their audience will start to consume it in that same way, reuse it, repurpose it, etc., and almost proliferate it for them. So, I mean, evergreen, everyone knows what evergreen content is. I think that the first thing to say is that this might not be an appropriate strategy for every media brand. Your content might not be evergreen per se, but for a luxury watch brand like Watch Time, it was appropriate. So they look at their content. They see ways in which they can take a particular article that has been published however many years ago and repackage it, repurpose it across a number of platforms, obviously one of them being print, newsletters, social media, etc., and how many different iterations of that particular piece of content they can put out to market. And obviously every platform will demand a different iteration of that initial content piece. And then over the course of any given year, they will publish that piece and republish it through iterations and tweaks constantly throughout the year. So these sort of multiple pieces that stem from that almost become little organisms of their own, which are then shared, reshared countless times. And the success in their audience growth would argue that it was the right thing for them.
Okay, one of the more interesting talks that I attended there was by somebody called Yulia Boyle. She's Armenian. She is their vice president of, she does a lot of syndication. So she spoke about how National Geographic were able to build this incredible audience. You know, it's basically it's quite an old magazine. It's 127 years old. And how they transformed the stuffy old magazine into this multimedia powerhouse. So National Geographic has about 730 million audience of 730 million per month. And it's built a lot of it, yes, on the magazine, which is translated into 34 languages, but also onto web and then especially onto social media. So they have 34 million people on Instagram. The interesting thing I found on Instagram was the people who actually populate their Instagram account. It's more than 90 photographers worldwide. So yeah, these people are on assignment for National Geographic. They go out there to the most amazing places, but they all have passwords and usernames, and they upload to National Geographic's Instagram account. So National Geographic's actually handed over curatorship of this account to them, and it's worked incredibly well. So they interact with people, they post these beautiful photographs every day. The great thing about National Geographic is they've built all of this around their core, and that is storytelling, telling amazing stories. So they are able to send explorers and scientists and adventurers into all the corners of the globe, and these people obviously interact with people, take beautiful photographs, and tell stories, and that is the core of what they do, and this is why they are so successful, because they know exactly who they are, and they can tell stories like nobody else can. In a lot of the presentations, a lot was said about paywalls. Should you have a paywall? Shouldn't you have a paywall? Some people have experimented with it. Some have left it alone. So yeah, the jury's definitely still out on that. I think one of the more interesting presentations was by a Dutch company called Blendel. They've been around for a few years, and they are quite far down the road with micropayments. So they started in Holland. They got all the publishers on board, which is quite important. And you can go to Blendel, their app or their website, and you can pay per article. So it's quality journalism that some of the bigger the publishing houses are doing, and the best magazines in Holland. And you pay a minimal amount per article. If you don't like the article, if you're not happy with it, you'll get your money back, or 70% of your money back, which is quite interesting.